In this video, I'm going to show you how to buy a tax lien certificate in the state of Michigan. This is a great state. There's many things going on in Michigan. First of all, it's a beautiful state. I mean, let's just be real about it. There's so many things going on. There's so much history over there, but there are great real estate opportunities when it comes to delinquent property taxes in the state of Michigan. Now, I'm going to slowly walk you through how this whole process works there so you too can profit from this. But I got something really special for you. It's only for those of you that hit subscribe and do the thumbs up thing. Okay, you did it? Okay, now, so this is going to be a nice little bonus, okay? I've got some special stuff for Michigan at the very end of this video, so stick around for that. Okay, there's all sorts of cool things that are happening in the state of Michigan, so we're going to walk through every single one of those in this video. First of all, let's talk about how it works, okay? Michigan is unique in a couple of different ways. It's just funny. You hear me talk about this all the time. Every state has its own version of coolness, if you will, as far as tax liens and tax deeds. Every time I hear Michigan, it's just like, oh, wow, okay, I know somebody's gonna make some money there. It's almost like a little angel, rings that bell or what have you. There's just so many things going on there, but the way that they do it, they change the rules there, I wanna say about 8 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, and it doesn't matter what they used to be, but they've just accelerated the process for the county is what they've done on that. Now, Michigan is a tax deed state, so there is no interest rate involved in it. They have their sales once a year. Those sales typically start in July and go through September on that period. They're online. You've got to subscribe online to do that. But let's go back before we get all invested in buying properties. First of all, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a state that does not sell tax liens on the property. In other words, these people have to be delinquent a minimum of how many years? Anybody? Anybody remember other videos on there? 4 years. Okay, so let's backtrack. Anywhere in the country, there's no way you're gonna buy a property for the delinquent property taxes, which means you give them the money, they hand you the title of the property, unless they've been delinquent a minimum of 4 years. Okay, minimum of 4 years. Okay, and there's so much BS out there in the internet, and I even saw an article in Forbes magazine, I think it was 2004, that shows this guy standing there with some kind of certificate in his hand. Of course they mail, he's an elderly guy and he just lost his property for a couple of years back. It can't happen. There's more to the story than that if you dug into it, but that also doesn't get clicks or sell magazines as that were back in 2004. The reality is a person has to be delinquent for 4 years minimum. That means certified letters, warrant. There's so many things that are going out during this 4 years before anything happens. Again, I don't want you to go out and think you're taking somebody's property like a foreclosure that happens in 60 or 90 days. This could take, again, a minimum of 4 years, but there's so many things that happen. I mean, you tell me something that you can be delinquent on for 4 years and nothing happens. Nothing happens to your financial, nothing happens to your credit score. I mean, try not making your car payment for 4 years. They got videos on that. Okay, so you kind of get my point. But nothing will happen in that situation. Rest your mind at heart that these people have been talked to. The chances of you getting a property where the property owner is living in the property are slim and none, as they say. Slim just left town. Typically, it's going to be the owner of the property. It's going to be a rental property or something else. Right now, sorry, baby boomers, we're getting older and we're dying. So I'm seeing a lot of properties that are in estates. The kids don't know what to do with the property. They're not interested, whatever the case is. So you're having that. So a tax deed means they've been delinquent a minimum of 4 years. And when you put your hand up or you put your bid in line, depending on the circumstances, you own the property. Now, there are some states out there that offer a redemption period beyond that. All they're saying is, here's the tax deed. Now I want you to foreclose at the end of 1 year or 3 months or whatever that is. In Michigan, it doesn't happen that way. Once you put your hand up, you own the property, okay? Once you own that property, you've got the property on there. You can start the rehab on the property, but immediately from putting your hand up and they're saying sold, you want to start clearing title. Well, what do you mean? I thought I owned the property. Yes. Okay, understand, you can't get clear title until it goes to sale. I want you to think about that. You can't put the cart before the horse. How can they clear title until it's legally been sold? You can't clear title until it's gone to sale. Somebody puts their hand up, hopefully that's you. They say sold. Now you get an attorney involved and they start to clear, uncloud, clean up, whatever they want to call it in that jurisdiction, the title on there. Now that process, it could take 60 to 90, maybe even 120 days, depending on the municipality and really the quality of the attorney you hire on that. Don't worry about it. We've got people that can help you out with that, and we'll talk about that later. The point is that can't get sped up. All you can do is follow the procedures. The only thing you can do is you can slow it down. So immediately you want to start that process so that's not slowing you down. At the same time you do that, that's when you start clearing up the property, getting it ready for sale or what have you. Now, it is a maximum bid sale. In the state of Michigan, it goes to the highest bidder. Okay, most of them are done online. There are third-party companies out there that contract with the county to make this thing happen. If there's a tie on the bid, it goes to whoever submitted the bid first. That's kind of a cool way of doing it. If the property does not sell at the tax deed sale, they will offer it up no sooner than 30 days later. So they'll offer it up. There'll be a no reserve bid on that. It means anybody that bids on it, no matter what the price is, they'll go ahead and sell it. So let's say they owe $10,000 in back taxes and you offer $5,000 and nobody else does, you own it at $5,000. So you're buying it at a discount. Find out when the county wants their money. Also, I need to be registered with the county, and you could possibly also simultaneously have to be registered with the online auction house, depending on who that is. Okay, I've made this mistake in the past. It's about 14 years ago. I went to my first online sale. I was all ready to go. Then I realized about 30 minutes prior that I had to register for the company that was doing the sale for the county. I hadn't done that. I didn't have enough time to do it. I literally had to bid under my buddy's number, who was actually one of my students, and he thought that was pretty funny. But anyways, to make that happen. So don't make that mistake. Find out who is going to be registering. Okay, so are you going to be buying this in your name? Are you going to be buying this in an LLC's name, a company's name? What are you doing on that? If you're going to be buying it in an LLC's name, do you have your POAs, power of attorneys, all placed in there? Make sure everything's in order. And I talk about this probably more so than I used to, because in the past, the counties didn't really care. They didn't care if you put in your social security number. They didn't care anything because they didn't really report anything to the feds until probably about 15 years ago or more. And then that's when the feds said, hey, we'll withhold highway funds unless you start getting us tax ID numbers on who's buying all these properties and what have you on that. So be prepared for that. In other words, understand the foreclosure process or the title clearing process. Understand how they issue title. Understand when they issue title. Understand what the bidding process is. Do you put a sealed bid in there and that's it? Can you continually bid during the auction? What time is the auction? I mean, I've got students in Hawaii that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to place bids, go back to sleep because that's all they have to do. One in particular put a bid in, like I said, got up in the middle of the night, put the bid on, didn't even look at her computer, went to the bank to wire a deposit, find out if they need a deposit for another auction. And when she opened up her computer at the bank, it turned out she had won one of the properties with $120,000 worth of profitability there. So anyways, a side note on that. So here's the other one. Do they need a deposit before you start bidding? This is also something new. There were a lot of people out there trying to buy deeds on property that wouldn't put up the back taxes on that. And at the end of the day, it was a faulty sale. So they said, okay, you know what? We're going to require $500, $1,000, a percentage of your maximum bid, whatever the case is, so that if you don't pay the balance, you lose that money on there. So there's all sorts of different ways to look at it. Michigan is a very profitable deal. There are so many things you need to understand going into this. Okay, so what I've done is this. I got a gift for you, a free gift. I've got a brand new mini course specifically on this that shows you the ins and outs of how to make tax liens and tax deeds a very profitable situation. All you need to do is real simple, okay? Go down there and click the link that says Higgins Method, or just type it in, Higgins method.com. Do whatever we need in there. Give us your email address. I'll send you that mini course. This is my gift to you. This is Saen Higgins saying good luck and happy hunting.